Hey kings and queens, I hope you're doing well and thank you so much for stopping by at my channel. So my name is Rachel Abbey from Intentional Adulting and I do videos all about adulting essentially. So if you're looking to start saving up for the future, to be more careful and wise with your money, if you're thinking about buying your first home, getting on the property ladder, learning about investing, then my channel is for you. So definitely subscribe if you haven't done so already. I wanted to come to you today with just a chit chat about pensions. I know pensions, is infamous for being a really boring topic, and that's because being old usually feels it just feels really far off. Like, we're in our 20s, we're in our 30s, a lot of us feel like we're still young, we don't need to worry about getting old, but actually time is flying by. And literally it felt like it was only a few moments ago when I was like 20, 25. So if time continues to speed as quickly as it has been speeding, we'll be at pensionable age before we even know it. So that's why it is really important for us to start having to think about how much money we will have available when we retire, and actually taking steps now in order to ensure that our retirement pot is as big and as as big as it can be. Because, not sure if you're aware, I didn't really understand pensions until literally a few weeks ago. I was just blissfully ignorant about pensions and how they worked and why it's so important to save. But what I have learned over the past few weeks is that yes, we currently do have a state pension. So at the moment, pensioners get about £700 a week from the government, not a week, sorry, £700 a month from the government if they have retired. But £700 a month is not enough for anyone to live off. Money will feel extremely tight, and most likely you'll be having to buy like really basic food, like Sainsbury's basics, Tesco basics, whatever they're called. You'll be living on beans and rice, like what Dave Ramsey says. You probably wouldn't have money left over for holidays, for luxuries, to pay your heating bill. Like, no one wants to live a life like that. So that's why it's so important for us to have money in addition to the state pension. And naturally, what I found out is that there's no guarantee that the state pension will even exist by the time we reach pensionable age. So the pensionable age is probably going to increase even further for us. No one wants to be working until they're 68 years old in order to retire and actually have a break finally from all those years of working. Most likely, not only will the pensionable age be deferred or delayed until 68 years old, there's just no guarantee that the state pension will even exist when we reach that age. So we can't rely on the fact of, or like on the promise of having £700 per month coming in from the government, because everyone is living longer, people are living longer, and the government just can't continue to keep dishing out all this money to people when they're living longer. And it means there's more people that the government needs to be paying out pension to, so it's just not sustainable. So that's why there's a risk that we won't even get a state pension when we retire. So it means it's even more important for us as millennials to start planning for our future now and putting money aside, so that we hopefully will have enough to live off when we're older without having to rely on the government. So that's where a workplace pension comes in. It's really, really important to be a member of your workplace pension scheme and to not opt out, because being part of your workplace pension scheme, it's essentially a way to receive free money from your employer, because most employers, they match your contributions. So what that means is, like, if you put in 5% of your salary into your pension pot every month, your employer will match that contribution. So they may also put in 5% into your pension pot every month. So it means that there'll be a total of, let's say, 10% of your pre-tax salary going into your pension pot every month. And it's quite hard to find a similar scheme or like a savings account that exists in the UK where your contributions are matched by your provider. It's like unheard of. In 2019, the law actually changed and it required employers to ensure that the minimum percentage contribution going into all of our pension contributions is 8%. Employers have the flexibility of deciding how that 8% is, I guess, distributed, like how much they put in and how much we as employees put in. But what I found from my research is that it is really important that we try and increase that minimum pension contribution, because even that 8% is not really going to be enough when it comes to, by the time we retire, how much money we'll eventually have in our pension pots. So what I have found is that it is widely suggested that we increase our employee pension contributions up until the point that our employer is willing to match our contributions. Even if your employer doesn't match your contributions, it's still advised that you increase your pension contributions up till the limit that your employer puts into your pot each month. I increased my own pension contributions last month, so in December of 2020, and that's because I want to make sure that I am saving more money into my pension every month, because I don't feel like I've been saving enough in previous years. But before I increased my pension contributions, I believe my employer was putting in 6% into my pension pot every month, and then myself as the employee, I was putting in 2% every month. So when you add their 6% and my 2%, that's how we got the minimum 8% contributions. But yeah, after research, I've just found that it is important to increase our pension contributions. And the rule that I have come across is this rule is more for if you have gone a number of years without making any contributions to your pension pot at all, how much contribution you should start to put in every month. So the rule is, it's for people who are literally just starting out with pension contributions. I have been putting money into my pension pot every month previously, but I feel like I really need to up my game now and increase my pension contribution. So that's why I've decided to use the rule that is applicable to those people who have never made contributions into their pot before and who are only just starting out. What that rule says is that the way to determine how much percentage should be going into your pension pot every month is by taking your age and dividing it by 2. That number that you get is the percentage that should be going into your pension every month. So for example, if you're 30 years old and you have never put in contributions into your pension pot before, so if you're literally just starting out now and you're age 30, you would divide your age by 2, which will give you 15, and then it should be 15% that you should be putting into your pension pot, or that should be going into your pension pot every month, whether it's just your own pension contributions or if it's a mixture of yours and your employer's contributions. I'm 31, so I guess dividing 31 by 2 is like 15.5. I don't feel like I can afford to put in 15% into my pension pot every month. My employer will only put in, what are they putting in? 6%. Yeah, so what I've decided to do is just up my employee contributions from 2% to 6%. So I've added an additional 4%. So now my pension contributions will be 6% from me and 6% from my employer, which totals 12%. So it's not quite the 15% that the rule says, but I think it's near enough, especially bearing in mind the fact that I have been putting money into my pension pot every month previously. I just now want to up my game and increase my contributions. If you budget accordingly and potentially cut down in like some areas that you may be spending unnecessarily, then that will free up some money that will enable you to put that money into your pension every month. And the real important thing about pensions is that the earlier you start, the better, because of interest, because of compound interest. So, you know, I was going to wait until 2022 before I decided to increase my pension contributions. But when I learned that the earlier we start, the better, because of the whole compound interest and the tax efficiencies, yeah, it just made sense to just increase my contributions now rather than later, rather than waiting until later, because it just means that I would be missing out on free money that I wouldn't get in any other way. So yeah, that's why I strongly suggest to please consider increasing your pension contributions if you can, and ideally you would try and match the amount that your employer is putting into your pot every month. They do say that you don't need to go above that point, so there's no need to go above 6% if your employer is putting in 6% like my one is. But yeah, just strongly consider it, because again, we can't rely on having a state pension. We don't know if it will exist when we're like 65, 68 years old. And also you just don't want to be living off beans and rice, or having to go without heating, or without, you know, without clothes or without food, because you weren't sensible and you didn't save properly when you were younger. So I really do hope this video is like a wake-up call for those of us who weren't taking saving for retirement seriously. I also hopefully have kept this simple enough so that it's not confusing in any way, and hopefully me sharing my own personal experience, like what I have done, also brings this to life a bit and helps you see how you can potentially also make this change yourself. Definitely let me know if you've got any questions about this. Leave a comment in the comment section. Of course I will respond or direct you to resources that you may find helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and if you're interested in more adulting videos, turn on your notification bell so that YouTube actually tells you when I upload a new video. Like this video as well so that I know that you found it useful. You can check out my first time home buyers playlist as well for more adulting videos, as well as my financial freedom stroke money saving playlist for more videos about intentional saving, investing, intentional living, etc. So yeah, lovely to spend some time with you today. Truly appreciate your presence, and we will definitely see each other soon.